Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy. And first of all, happy Monday evening, everybody. I've decided to try to move my videos to the evening, and we'll see if that works better for me. My husband is usually gone to a meeting on Monday evenings, and that way I have the house to myself. And so we're going to try Monday evenings instead of Monday afternoon. So we'll see how that goes for a while, and if it works, then we'll continue with it. And if it doesn't work, then, well, we'll go to a different time. But today, I'm going to use the stamp set Thoughtful Octopus. Now, it's a release. It was released, I believe, May's online exclusives. So it's been around a while. I haven't seen too many cards done with it, but when I saw it, I fell in love because I am a sucker for a happy birthday stamp. And when I saw this little octopus with these little cupcakes and these little hearts and the happy birthday hat and the balloon, it just stole my heart. So let me show you what I did first thing. Now, when I got the octopus stamp set, I got all the new in-color ink pads, so I whipped up a card here. This was a long time ago that looked like this. And like I said, my goal of this card was just to use all the new in colors. So you can see there's Golden Glow, the Crisp Cantaloupe, some Barely Blush, Peaceful Pine, and of course everybody's favorite, and I can't remember the name of it now. Oh my gosh, the hue. But anyway, if you're familiar with Stampin' Up, you know the colors. I can't believe I lost that color. But anyway, it's a cute little card, real simple. I thought it turned out nice. It'd be something I would send out. And then I did a little bit more. And this time I just stepped it up a little bit. I fussy cut out that little octopus. I stamped the little suckers, is that a nice word to say, that are on his legs, and a little bit here. I fussy cut the balloon and kind of popped it up a little bit, so it has a little bit of dimension. It's still the same colors, same inside, but that's how I took that card and just popped it up a little bit. And then I found a lady by the name of, and I wrote her name here because I'll mess it up, so Rachel, Naptime is Stamp Time, and I cased a couple of her cards. Look how cute her cards are. Just more ways to use that little octopus stamp set. Right now there's no dies, it's just a stamp set, so you have to do some fussy cutting, which if you know me, you know fussy cutting, which just means cutting it out close to the edges, usually leaving a little white border. But anyway, that's one of my favorite techniques, so that doesn't bother me at all. But those are, look at how cute her cards are. So thank you, Rachel, first of all, for sharing. I thought those were adorable. Then, as time progressed, Stampin' Up sent out a class, and it's called a Spritz class. At least I think that's what it was called. It doesn't say that on here, but they gave you all the dimensions and instructions, sizes of cards, what to use. And so I thought tonight I'll show you how I did this class. Hi, Alicia Ray. For the cards, we're going to make 2 cards tonight, which not usually my thing, because usually I panic when it comes to being live. And well, anyway, I'm going to try not to panic. I'm going to take my time, and we're going to make 2 cards. I have my little packet here ready for both cards. And then, first thing we're going to do, though, is I'm going to cover my glass mat here with like a protective coating. So this is Stampin' Up's new grid paper. Have you seen them? They're huge. They're even a little, just a shade bigger, if a shade is a measurement, than the glass mat. And this is going to protect my glass mat because, like I said, we're going to do some spritzing, and I don't want it all over. So here's, I'm set the cards aside. I'm going to get the pieces out. I guess we're going to do the stamping, or nope, we're going to do the orange card second, and we're going to do, there's all kinds of little pieces and parts in here, but we'll set that aside. So I have 2 pieces of watercolor paper. That's what they suggested, so that's what I'm using. I like the cards too, Alicia Ray, just so you know. I thought they were really cute, and they're not too hard. They're pretty simple. Measurement-wise, I don't remember. I cut my packets a few days ago, so I don't remember the measurements, but you can go to my gallery. After I'm done with my video, give me a little bit of time, and I'll go get all the measurements onto my gallery, becreativewithkathy.com. And if you can't find it, just search octopus. It should be the first one to pop up. Today is, I don't even know what today is. Wait, I do know. Nope, I guess I don't. June something. But it should be the first one to pop up. If it doesn't, search octopus and you can find it that way. Okay, let's go back to our spritzing. So watercolor paper, I took my spritzer and I put a little bit of alcohol in there and 2 drops of Azure Afternoon ink color. It doesn't take very much, and I didn't want it very dark. And I believe I tried to follow the instructions exact, but I'm not very good at that either. But I believe that's what Stampin' Up told me on the instructions. So alcohol, 2 drops of ink, Azure Afternoon, which is a pretty bright color, in my little spritzer. I'm going to shake it up pretty good here and just barely spritz my paper. I don't want a lot, but ooh, that's dark compared to my last one, but I do like the splatches, so it kind of has that water kind of look to it, and boy, it smells like alcohol. I'm going to do one more there. That's enough. That's way more than I used on my last card, which let me show you that. It looks like this. See how I barely spritzed it? Look how dark this is compared to that. Now we'll see if this dries a little bit, if it dries lighter. But we're going to set that aside now that we've made a mess here on our paper. And I'm going to keep my paper there just for a little bit because, I don't know, we might need it again. Okay, so our second part of, and hang on, I left my stamps over there. I'll be right back. Let me go grab my stamps. I knew I was going to do that. Wait till you see. I was playing today, and I went and took all my stamps. I stamped like all afternoon. Don't tell my husband. I mean, I did laundry all afternoon, which really I didn't. But I need to get the little stamps that are from this set, and I'll show you the cards that I made this afternoon. But I took all my stamps, and I washed them. I usually wash my stamps, especially when I use a bunch of them, on the bathroom sink, just because it's close by. Okay, I think I have the 2 that I needed, especially this one. Now I got water on my paper that I needed this time. Okay, now as per the instructions said, I have Flirty Flamingo and Timid Tiger. And I'm going to ink up my octopus here in that Flirty Flamingo. Pretty good. Now my Flirty Flamingo is very happy, so it's pretty dark and I want it lighter, so I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to take that Timid Tiger and I'm going to do a technique called rock and roll. It's an old technique, but trust me, it's great. Wait till you see it. And I'm going to just rock the edges of my octopus in the Timid Tiger. Now because the Timid Tiger is a darker ink than the Flirty Flamingo, it won't hurt my ink pad. Okay, and now that we have, because this was back when you had those red rubber with a wood block and you couldn't see what you were doing, now you can actually look through your stamp and see where that Timid Tiger is. And I think I want a little bit more here. Whoop, yeah. And then you can kind of look through your stamp and see where those, here, if I move this, see how you can see through your stamp. Now to me, this side here, his head, I'm going to get a little bit more ink on his head and a little bit more ink on there, like that. Okay, so there we go. So, hi Rod, how are you? Okay, so back to work. So then I'm going to take, now I have my water in a big Spritz bottle. It's left over from my Melaleuca toner. But ever since we got that impressions plate, I've been using a lot of water there. So I just have a big water bottle here. And I'm going to just spritz. But wait, look here. Look at this. We need more ink on there. Sorry, changed my mind. I think I need a little bit more ink on this leg up here. So hang on one more time. I need a little more. There, now I'm happy. There, see how now his legs look almost even in that rock and roll. Okay, back to work here. So now I'm going to take my water bottle, like I said, and I'm going to just barely spritz pretty far. I'm probably like 6 inches away from the stamp, and I'm going to just spritz a little bit of water on there. And I don't know if you can see it. Can you see those drops? Then on my watercolor paper, I'm going to stamp my little octopus somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter. We're going to cut this piece of paper down, but wait till you see how cute it looks with that spritzing and that rock and roll. And look there, how cute. 2-colored, not very perfect, kind of random. I think that's perfect for an octopus. Now, we're going to use this again, so I'm quickly going to wash him. Whoop, that's the wrong chamois. This chamois. I'm going to go, that one I think is dry, doesn't matter. I'm going to clean my octopus here real good and just set him aside for later. Okay, now don't let me forget I put him on this side because I'll never remember where I put him and I'll be looking for him later. Okay, so while these two pieces, this piece here and this piece here dry, although this one's pretty, it's getting close to dry already, let's take our other pieces. And I said we're going to make this card first. So I have already cut my greeting. This is Flirty Flamingo, and like I said, the measurements will be on my blog, Be Creative with Kathy. And I have one of those arch dies cut. And I'll tell you, well, I can tell you, I have those right here because we're going to use them again. Which size is this? And I kind of just guessed 4th from the bottom, or 4th from the largest. And you know what? I wrote that on my instructions so I could tell you. And then, oh well, doesn't matter. I did it already. Okay, so let's stamp this. And I'm going to use the new black. I shouldn't call it that, but it's Secret C. I like to use that for dark, which Stampin' Up suggested too. And on the front here, see, I lost my card already. Here it is. We're going to stamp those little words. If I could hug you with 8 arms, I would. And we're going to get it to fit. Is this the right one? Yep, right here. And this one's too long, so I need to cut that down. Let's cut that down just a tad. Not a very good packet. I'm going to kind of measure this one and see how long he needs to be. 3 inches. Really, I think it's 3 1/8, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 3 1/8 inches. And cut this to the side it should be. Size, I should have done that before. Okay, there we go. So now you know this one is, what do we say, 3 1/8 by 1/2 inch. There you got one measurement without having to go to my gallery. I'm going to try to get this straight on my grid paper. I might get my head in the camera, so you have to bear with me. And then I have to find the right stamp. This one, yep. Oh, I got it on the first try. Okay. Let's lean in there a bit and stamp it. And since it's clear, you can get it stamped on that little piece of cardstock. Not too much pressure, but let it sit there a while to sink into that paper, and that'll work. It's a little bit heavy on this side, but I'm okay with that. And then on that arch, we're going to bring in that timid tiger again. And my octopus that I put over there, remember? And then we're going to ink up that octopus and stamp him onto. Now there again, I think he's a little, my timid tiger ink is really happy. That means, and when I say happy, I mean juicy. So I'm going to stamp it off, and then I'm going to try to get him here stamped toward the center of my arch. Let that ink sink into the paper. And looky there, cute little octopus. Okay, now we're done. I won't have to wash him. I'll take him to the sink and wash him later. But now we need to add all those little, I keep calling them suckers, but I don't know what those are, on his legs and his head. They're just pieces, or another stamps, I should say, in the stamp set. They look like this, and they look like this, which you could get mixed up and think that they're bubbles, or think that they are, which they could be, don't get me wrong. But I think it's planned to put little things like that. And then this one, which I'm going to go slow and steady. And it kind of is like is an arch, so it matches his legs. Her legs, is this a boy or a girl? Does it matter? And I think if I turn my cardstock, I get him stamped better. Let's keep going around and get all little 8 legs with his little, we're going to just call them suckers, okay? Something like that. There he goes. Now he just needs that cute little face. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up in the Secret C2, another part of the stamp set, and just stamp that down. And we have a really cute octopus. Now I think, now that I look, nope, I probably just held it longer here, and that's why my octopus is lighter here than it is here, but I think they both work. Okay, now the other thing we need are those little hearts right? That's another stamp in the stamp set. We're going to stamp those in Flirty Flamingo. And we need 3 of them that we can fussy cut out. Now, I tell you a secret. I've already fussy cut mine out, so I'm not going to stamp the hearts. I didn't want you to sit and wait while I fussy cut those little hearts out. So I have them already done right here in my packet. Let's see. There's all 3 of them. Now, let me tell you something, too. If you don't like to fussy cut and you have the Bee Builder Punch, let me show you what that looks like. I think it's called a Bee Builder Punch. I always call it the Bee Punch. It looks like this. Can you see that? You can use this little heart here, and you can just take a piece of Flirty Flamingo and punch it out. Now, I don't think, well, let's test that. I don't think you can stamp out this or punch out this heart with the punch, but let's see what happens when I punch that little heart here in the corner. Let's see how well it punches. I can't remember if I did this or not to see if it would work, but there's the little heart from the stamp set, and this is the heart from the Bee Punch, and I stamped it upside down. Hang on, I gotta put the round parts or the bumps of the heart this way to get it into my punch. I should have paid attention to that, and I didn't. But now if we take that punch and punch it out, it leaves a bigger white border. I mean, it would work, but it doesn't look as well, I don't think, as if it's fussy cut. This is what it looks like when it's fussy cut. This is what it looks like when it's punched. And this is what it looks like if you just punched a heart out of that Flirty Flamingo. In fact, I'm going to punch 2 more hearts out of that Flirty Flamingo, and then we can see how it looks on the card. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not, because my other hearts, I took all that time to fussy cut. We'll probably use those. You'll have to tell me which one you like better. Okay, so let's keep going. So we have a white card base. It's just a thick, basic white 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we're just going to do our card base. Now, before I put anything on the front, I'm going to go ahead and stamp on the inside. So I'm going to take again that Secret C. Our new black is what we call it. Let me see what I did on the inside of this one, because if I remember correctly, yes, I took that Sending Lots of Love on Your Birthday. But if you look at the stamp set says many happy wishes on your birthday, and then sending lots of love. So we're going to do a little bit of masking so that we can use the 2 stamps as one on the inside of our card. And I don't think that was recommended by Stampin' Up. I think that was just what I wanted to do. Like I said, I tried to follow the instructions, but you got to make it your own, right? So sending lots of love right there like that. Boom, right? Then we're going to take the stamp set on your birthday. Nope, that's not the right one. Where's the one? Here it is. This one says, many happy wishes on your birthday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stamp and just some Scotch tape. And I got a pretty long piece here to make sure that it sticks to both ends after the stamp. Or I'll show you what I'm talking about. Lots of room here, and I'm just going to cover up that many happy wishes. And there again, you can look through your stamp to see if you've got it all covered. I think I need to go down a little bit on this side. So now that's all covered, right? And then I'll ink it up. Good. Then I'll take that tape off, because boy, we don't want to stamp that on our card. Put it in the trash so you don't put your finger in it. And then I like to huff on it a little bit, and I'm going to put it right here under my saying. So it looks like that. Now it says, sending lots of love on your birthday. Perfect, right? I thought that looked really cute. And then we got to put some of those hearts on the inside too. So let's grab my Flirty Flamingo ink pad, that little heart stamp. That's adorable. What do you think? I think I'm going to put a couple this way, and then I'm going to put one over here. And there, I think the inside of my card is now adorable. Let's finish the front. So we're going to take this piece now that is dry. It's dry. And I'm going to just put some adhesive on the back. Whoop, not on my paper. Oh, I got adhesive everywhere now. Went a little bit hog wild there. Got all excited. Good enough. And then I'm going to just barely tilt this a little bit to the left, just to give it some character, I don't know. And there you go. And now you can compare the two. It didn't lighten up much after it dried, but I still think it looks really good. Okay, this one I'm going to put on with dimensionals. I even went and got a brand new sheet of dimensionals because I kept running out. Like I said, I played Stampin' Up! Demonstrator all afternoon and created. And I would love to show you what I made. However, I'm going to wait because I have a team meeting tomorrow, and I want to show them first, and then next Monday that I'll show you those cards and make one of those cards with you. We're going to do some mystery stamping, which I think would be really fun. Get off my card. And like I said, I want to show them first. Okay, this one is tilted. This one I'm going to put straight because I think that's what Stampin' Up! Suggested. So I'm trying to be a good girl and do my class like Stampin' Up! Suggested. This one's going to go on dimensionals too. So we'll just slap a couple dimensionals on him. I'm going to keep it toward the center. You can see it hangs off just a little bit, but because I don't want the dimensionals to hang off the edge, if that makes sense. But I think if I keep them pretty close to the middle, not too close to the edges, we should be fine. Get those backings off. Okay. And then this one I'm going to put straight right here. What do you think about there? Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, now it's time to put those little hearts on. So I'm going to just set them on there and let you see the difference. So these are the ones that I fussy cut. And this little guy is going to hold that one, or that little arm's going to hold that one. This one's going to go somewhere down there. And this one will go over there, so it would look like that. That's if you fussy cut them out. Now, if you didn't fussy cut them out and you used that punch, let me show you what that would look like. I think they would work the same. They're just a little bit bigger, but look how cute that would work the same. Right? That would look just as good. Okay, let's go. I'm going to use my fussy cut one. I went to all that work. That's what I'm using. And I'm going to just take some, well, let's use mini dimensionals. I think that's what I did on my card. It might be what Stampin' Up! Suggested, but that's what I'm going to do. So we'll put a little mini dimensional on all of these guys. Okay, and take those backs off again and just slap them on there how they should like appear. And put one down here. And then one over here. What do you think? This one needs to go a little higher because they can't be even. We can't have them straight across. We got to have them there like that. Now, one thing that Stampin' Up! Didn't suggest, but I couldn't resist, was I had to add a little bit of embellishment. And you know what? Let me look. What do I do with these pieces? Let me look at theirs again and show you that nope, there are no embellishments on their cards whatsoever. So I decided, you know those little ladybugs, right? And they have all these little clear dots. Now, don't worry, I have a lot of them because I use the ladybugs a lot, so I have a lot of clear dots left over. So I'm going to just make, if you can see on this card, see the little bubbles there? So I'm going to just make a row of bubbles coming up for my little octopus. And I think that bubbles start little and then get bigger. So I'm going to start with these little bubbles. Whoop, nope, they're just little clear embellishments. See if I can get them off of there. They're pretty small. And just maybe do 3. I think that's what I did. No, I only did 2. Let's do 2, just like I did on my other card. And just kind of go up there. And then I'm going to put a row, a couple big ones that didn't come off my pokey tool. There we go. And just kind of going up like that. And then I'm going to add a second row just so they look like a not like a trail of bubbles, but like a cluster of bubbles. I don't know, what would you call that? This one here. And I don't like the way that one's placed. We might have to move that one because it's kind of like too square looking. Does that make sense? Let's just move it a little bit. Let go. A little bit to the right. Can you get that little embellishment off there? Look, he's sliding around. There he goes. Thanks for sticking. There we go. So my bubbles look something like that. And I thought that was a really cute card look. If I could hug you with 8 arms, I would. Sending lots of love on your birthday. Cute, right? Okay, one card done. Woohoo! Let's go ahead to the next card. And we have the stamping done. Well, kind of. We need to add his little face on there. So I'm going to take again that Secret Sea ink, what I call the new black, and find that stamp and just put his little face, because yep, now he's dry too. Now if I stamped him and he wasn't dry, this ink would it would run and smear and it wouldn't look very good. So let's hope he's dry enough. Yep, looky there. How cute, huh? Now, if I could stamp the suckers is what I keep calling them, like I did on the other card, but I thought about this. What if you take your white gel pen and you draw them on there? Now this again wasn't Stampin' Up, this was a Kathy idea, but I just took my little white gel pen. You also could, if you wanted to, maybe emboss them on there, but I'll tell you what, when you use your little white gel pen and draw them on there, oh, his legs might be a little bit wet. Nope, looking pretty good. You get them exactly where you want. You don't miss. I just did 4. I'm going to turn this around so I don't put my hand in that part. Little tentacles on his legs. Now, if you've been watching my videos, I told you when Stampin' Up released the brand new white gel pen, I was going to test it because me and gel pens don't get along. In the past, you open a gel pen from somewhere else. It works perfect the first time. And then the next time you go to use it, it was dried up or wouldn't work. So far, my white gel pen from Stampin' Up is like no problems whatsoever. I've used it a bunch of times. It still works. I think it's a great product. I suggest you buy one too because they are totally worth it. And look how cute his little white suckers are there on his legs. That's what we'll use, the legs. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of some, no I'm not, we're going to stamp one more time and then I'll get rid of this big piece of paper that is driving me nuts on this. Let's do our stamping and then I'll get rid of it. So the first thing I have here is a piece of Flirty Flamingo again, and I'm going to stamp on it with Flirty Flamingo ink, which has disappeared because I don't put anything away. Here it is. Okay, and using these 3 stamps, this little horse, seahorse, this weed, and this other weed, I guess is what you'd call them. If you have a better name for them, please let me know. And I'm going to just randomly stamp a background here. And you know what? I'm even going to go the long route. I'm going to stamp one, and then I'm going to stamp the other, kind of, and then find my seahorse, and I'm going to go around this way, and that way I know I have them spaced out and exactly where I want them, kind of random. I'm not going to go in order because I don't want a pattern. I just want some stamping at the, let's do it here, and then I'll put the little seahorse on this side. Most of the inside is going to be covered, so I'm not going to worry too much about that, but I do want to get a little bit of the center. Let's see, my little guy is going to cover. Yeah, so we need to, my sides are good. If I stay there, let's do we're going to do this one again. Nope, can't do that one again. Let's do the seahorse here. And then you know what we'll do is we'll stamp this one right here next to it. That looks pretty good. Maybe we need something here. Maybe we do another little seahorse. We'll just overdo the seahorses since they're so stinking cute. Let's do a little weed up here like this. And then maybe stamp this one here. There we go, that'll work. And then we'll stamp this one here. And then we'll stamp that little seahorse. Now we might have to come back and add some more because, that look all right? Because we might not cover all this area here. I don't know, we'll see. So far, so good. While we're at it though, we might as well stamp our greeting here. Let me find the card to make sure. Oh, I remember now. Here, there, I forgot what I was doing. We need to stamp that you occupy my thoughts, and then we're gonna cut that apart. So that looks like this, and we need Secret C. I'm gonna just stamp it here like this, and then I'm gonna set that aside, let that dry while we get everything else ready. I think that's all of it. Let's see what I did on the inside. Oh, many happy wishes on your birthday. We'll stamp that. That's the one that we, where's that one? This one, that we masked off the first time. So he's good to go. We'll stamp him right there. Ta-da! Right, and then we'll just add some of those weeds and that little octopus and some of these other two colors. So I like the octopus. Oh, and we should clean up, right? Because some of them, I'm going to just clean this one, and we'll use him in Flirty Flamingo, and we'll do the other two in the orange. Let's get that Flirty Flamingo out and stamp him first. And we can do different shades by stamping off. So if we stamp, can you see, am I in camera? We stamp our little Flirty Flamingo full strength here, and then we stamp it again. You get that lighter shade that gives it two-tone kind of color, which I really like. Okay, let's get our little weed here. We'll do the same thing with him. I'm going to stamp him here, and then stamp him off and stamp him there. There we go. And then the last thing, whoops, we need that ink. We're going to stamp that little seahorse, which is hiding over here. And we'll just stamp him here. And then you know what? I think I'm going to stamp a little seahorse kind of straggler up there. Yeah, that'll be the inside of our card. Okay, now we've done all of our stamping. All we need to do is a symbol. Although we might have to come back and stamp something up here, which I'll have to wash my stamps again. Well, maybe we won't. Okay, got this folded in half. And I'm going to set that aside because you know it just dawned on me. We need to cut this piece down to size. Now, Stampin' Up's way, and I didn't think this would work, but I was kind of surprised it did, was we're going to take those everyday arches, right? And I'm going to take the largest arch die, and let's hope this works, because it worked the first time, but you never know on camera how things are going to work. Okay, set that aside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the watercolor paper, right, that we stamped and even colored those little white suckers on with our gel pen, and I'm going to lay this like this and try to get it where I want it. So I think I want about that much border on my piece here. Try to get it straight. Does it look straight? Yeah, it looks good enough, right? And I'm going to hold that there on my platform here, and we're going to run that, if I can get it off, through our die cut machine. And this is going to give it a little stitch border on both sides. And this is where I meant to take away that grid paper, because it's probably going to slip around. Oh, look, it's not. I can hold it pretty good. We're going to get rid of that grid paper so it's easier to work. There we go, without everything slipping around. Okay, so now we have a little stitched border on the top of our project. See there? That little stitch border. Then we're going to turn it around and we're going to do the same thing. And I'm going to try to get about the same amount of border. So what do you think? I think that looks, look, there's little grid paper on my mat here. We should use that. There. I think that looks good enough. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I was looking over for my clear mat and it's right there next to me. Bring in that machine again. And let's cut that out. And then, like I said, that'll give us that little stitched border on both sides of our little octopus. Now, when you do stuff like this, make sure you check to make sure there's no clear or white gel pen on here and there's no ink on here, because if you ran this through another piece of cardstock, that ink would come off onto your next project. So just be careful when you do that kind of stuff. Okay, looky there. We have our little octopus. Now let's see if I stamped enough background on my Flirty Flamingo piece for my octopus to cover up. Okay, we got that put away. Let's put this away. Bring in all those pieces. We have this piece. Let's see how that's, oh, yeah, perfect. Look how cute that's going to look. And the inside, and that's our pieces. Okay, so first thing I'm going to go ahead and just put this on the inside of my card. Like this. So cute. I love this stamp set. Like I said, I am a sucker for birthday stamp sets, but this little octopus is stinking cute. And I just saw right there another card that I want to show you that I made with the octopus that I missed the first time. And that's one of the cards I made today. So this, we're going to tilt this a little bit. Let's go, which way? Which way did I go here? This way. We're going to tilt it just a little bit here, like that. I don't know, does that look good? Try to get it so this border and this border about the same. This border and this border about the same. They're not even close, but I'm going to just press it down and be happy. Okay, this little guy we're going to put on dimensionals. And this one we're going to tilt just a little bit the opposite way, making sure that I've covered up all those. There's a little bit of a raw or blank edge right here, but I think it looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and press him down. Now all we need to do is add our little words. So I am going to do what I call, this is kidnapping words, and that's, I don't know if you used to, back in the day, and maybe it doesn't happen anymore, kidnappers used to cut little pieces of articles apart or whatever, and they'd send you the ransom note. Isn't that terrible that that's how I think about it? But that's what this reminds me of. I'm going to just cut these little words apart like this, and of course they're not going to be perfect. They're going to try to be close to the edge. They're my thoughts. Go make sure I get rid of the pieces I don't need. There, this is a piece I do need. There's you and octopi, which is so cute. Okay, now we're going to take some of those mini dimensionals again and put them on the back. Hopefully I didn't cut my pieces too small and mini dimensionals fit on there. We might have to cut some edges, but nope, if you put the square edge or the flat edge of the dimensional with the flat edge of your paper, it barely fits on there. At least mine does. And I'm going to use my pokey tool here to pick them up so it's easier to get them where I want them. There we go. Occupy is done. One little tiny dimensional right here on my Oh, and look, he fit just right, and you can't see the dimensional. Wait, let it focus. There it goes. You can't see the dimensional behind it. Phew, that was a close one. Okay, one more. I'm just going to stick one little dimensional on the middle of the U because it's pretty small too. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take this back off, and I'm going to try to place my sentiment. I'm going to use that right where I had it before. So you, occupy, octopi. Like that. I'm going to make him a little crooked because there's no way I would ever get him all straight. So if we kind of go back and forth, they look good. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to do, let me see, I'm going to put this one on straight though for some reason, like that. Look how cute. Okay, then the last thing I want to do is add those little bubbles again. So take out my embellishments now that have, oh, they're right here. They fell out, huh? And I'm going to just add, oop, looks like I don't have enough little ones on this sheet. I'll have to go the other sheet. 1, 2, and this one needs to go over a little bit. Well, now he's, there he goes. And then some big ones floating up. And then just kind of fill in the gaps so it's more like a cluster of bubbles and not just a row of bubbles. In fact, I'm going to add one more here, right there. And then let's get some little ones out of this package. Be right there. Yep, that looks good. Let me show you close up so you can see, because I don't think you can see that far away, but there's how my little bubble trail looks. And you know what? It needs one more. Let's go one more. Maybe you'll see what it looks like. One more floating off the top, because really he needs one more up here, or I need to, let's see, what do you think? My little bubbles go off the paper, but I think that looks okay. Alrighty, so that's what I have for you. That's Stampin' Up's class. This one, this one. See how the two of them differ, or maybe how they're the same. And then we have this one, and then we have this one. All with the spritzing. Aren't they cute? And then the other card that I just noticed that I forgot to share in the beginning, and I'll bring Rachel's cards back out so you can see them, is I made a little graduation card. So one of my softball players, if you know, I coached high school softball for about 12 years and retired 2 years ago. Oops, real quick. Hi, Glenda. And I made her a birthday or a graduation card, and look how cute that is, turning that little octopus into a graduate. Isn't that cute? I need to add something down here. Maybe I'll put some purple weeds and stuff down there. Okay, there we go. And then I'll show you Rachel's cards again, which maybe I won't, because where did I put them? Did I tell you where I put them? Nope, here's two more. And the other one should be right here too, and they're not. All right, where did all of Rachel's cards go? Let me look one more spot. Huh. Well, that's embarrassing because I set them down and now I can't find them. So you'll have to go back to the beginning of the video or watch the video again to see those. Because where did, oh, they fell. Here they are. I see them now. There we go. And one more just like that. Aren't those cute? I can hardly wait to make some more octopus cards. All right, that's what I have for you tonight. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Alicia Ray, Rodney, and Glenda, it was nice to have you here. If you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe, whether you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube. And like I said, give me a few more minutes, and I will go post all the measurements for the two cards that I made today, these two, on my blog, BeCreativeWithKathy.com. Hi, Connie. Alrighty, I'll see you all next Monday. In the evening now, we're going to try about 7:30 instead of in the afternoon. You like the purple one? This one, Rod? Or this one? Or both? Okay, that's what I have for you today. Oh, look. I inked on my card. That doesn't make me happy. Okay, gotta go. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.